feel like you learned about your group from the first scrimmage, and what are you going to look to see from the second scrimmage?
First scrimmage, there's an urgency to our guys right now that you love to see on film. They're playing with a sense of urgency. They're playing with great tempo, and they're playing with a really good physicality. Obviously, in camp, we start to beat up on each other a little bit, and it's good to see those guys keep that competitive edge. I think we did some really good things in the scrimmage, but there's always going to be room to improve, and always looking to where those minute things that we can make a difference in. So this week they've been focusing on that and making sure we're doing so.
Chemistry's always kind of in the spotlight, particularly when you have to break in a new center. How do you feel like your group's handling that?
They're handling it well. I think still it's competition time right now. A variety of rotations, but whoever's at the center spot is doing a really good job of making sure all the four rest of them are on the same page. It's been a really good camp so far, truly.
Who else is there besides Poncho, where you're giving a real look at?
Right now, we got about 4 guys rotating that center. So you still got Poncho, you still got Marcus, you got Charlie Pickard, you got Bryce Bolton, you got Kanan Ross. So we got a ton of guys still competing for that center job, and they're all doing a tremendous job right now. So they'll keep competing that job out and see who wins it out.
Do you feel like the competition has just developed the offensive line in its totality, not a specific position?
Just overall, it really helps even when the young guys start to play good ball. It makes the older guys have to continue to push. It's naturally, if you've been playing a lot of football, you feel like the job is just yours. It makes it easier for everybody when the younger guys are competing too, so those older guys keep their level of play up as well.
Are you seeing that?
Yeah, you can see that tremendously. And the good thing is our older guys have no issue helping our younger guys. And that's the best thing about Johnny and Josh and even Marcus and all our older guys that have been here. They have no issue bringing a younger guy on and showing them the standard that we're trying to set in our room.
You've seen Poncho at that guard spot as well. How open is this still? Like not just in the competition spot at center. I'm talking about like where he could be. Like could you viably see him at guard and then somebody else at center?
Just depending on how it plays out. Because at the end of the day, we just want to make sure we got the best 5 on the field. And if the best 5 is him at guard and somebody else at center, or him at center and somebody else at guard, we're going to do whatever's possible to just make sure it's the best 5 out there to give our team the best chance to win for real.
Do you need an answer before the 31st in terms of set, or are you comfortable going into that if it's open?
Yeah, I think comfortably you would like to have that decision made, but I mean, even last year our rotations changed throughout the year. If we do what we plan on doing, we should be playing football for a very long time. You may need somebody who right now who may not even think they were going to be playing. They might be a starter at the end of the season. That's how football works. So right now, if it isn't finalized, that's okay. Our guys got to compete every single day because the week 1 starters may not be the week 12 starters. So we continue to prepare those guys as much as possible.
You talked about Johnny's leadership. What can you just say about him as a person and what he's meant to this?
It's just great to see how much he's grown in the last year. We challenged him a ton. Last year, he was real respectful that he was the new guy, so he kind of showed and led the way by example. Now he has no issue with like being vocal about it. He's got our young guys there after practice, post-practice. He's got Shaq, he's got Trent, he's got Fox. They're doing a ton of extra work in the meeting room. He's the first one in there laughing, joking with the guys. But when it's time to go to work, it's time to go to work. And it's good to see him way more vocal in that because he's now taking it like him and Josh. They really had great off seasons this offseason. Coach Love challenged them. Myself, Coach Landon, we all challenged them, and they answered it. They truly did.
What have you seen from Shaq from the spring and this offseason? Someone with the size and just actually now getting to see him on the field.
It's everything is trending in the right direction with Big Shaq, man. It's so lovely. He's committed himself with Coach Cav every day this offseason to make sure he's working on his bend and flexibility, and you can start to see that take toll. He even got him in there at guard a little bit, and I think you can start to see that he's starting to get more comfortable in the system, getting more comfortable with the way college football works. He had the advantage of being here early in the spring, and you're starting to see him catch his groove. Got to lose a little bit more weight, got to continue to get more flexible, but you can see the player that he's going to be for us.
Who are the names to know maybe at right guard right now? Obviously, Bedford was brought in maybe to play there, but who are the other guys?
See, all those guys still compete. You still got Bedford, you still got Nashad Schroeder, you still got Poncho that's still there too. You got even Janoris Wilson, you got Lipe Mwala. There's a ton of guys there that are still competing for that right guard spot. And the beautiful part is we still got 2 weeks left of camp. Those guys compete their tail off and may the best man win. Everybody's working together. And the best part about it, they're competing, and as soon as they're done competing, they laugh and they joke and they're working together. They're still a family at the end of the day.
Is Silva getting looks anywhere besides tackle?
Really just tackle right now. There's times that in practice he may get a little guard work, but it's more so in like group periods than anything. But he can play guards if we need to, but it's just been more the tackles than anything.
You guys weren't finalists for the Jim Moore Award last season with so many moving pieces on the line this year. What is the key to keeping that consistency and that consistent play?
Like I said before, there's a standard that's been set here for offensive line play. Last year was 4 new starters, and those guys took the same heat of what those guys prior to them did. And there's a standard here. We got to play elite offensive line play. So they've attacked it this offseason. They're not hearing the noise because it's the same amount of stress as last year with 4 new starters, and with now it's guys returning, it's still the same amount of stress. At the end of the day, you got to put the work in and go grind and go take it. So every single day we say the Joe Moore Award. Every single day that's something we want to attain. That's something we want to go grab. But we can talk about it. You got to go work and put that work in. And I think our guys have handled that all off season in the lifts, and then now in the camp they're working their tails off. Truly.
You mentioned that Johnny and Josh, 2 guys you guys challenged this offseason. They have responded. Where have you seen that growth? Because they were already so good. Now it sounds like they're better.
Yeah, truly, it was in the weight room. Like, they had a tremendous years last year. Between both of them, I think there was only one sack given up between both of them, and it was like a little bit more of a schematic thing than anything. It was just, now go look like how you play. You all are dominant, stout tackles. Now let's just go look that way. And they attacked. Nobody took it personal. They actually banded together every day at the lifts. They was doing extra work by themselves. And you can ask Coach Love. I'm pretty sure Coach Love has told you all, but they're probably the MVPs of this offseason just from training and taking their bodies to that next level. Because a lot of guys get comfortable because they had some success last year to this hit and coast mode. That wasn't them. They really dug in their bag and really got right back to work.
What is
Early
Marcus?
impressions on Devin and Fox.
Love Devin and Fox, man. Love the Oregon's own, really. It's funny, there's times where we have a whole Oregon line in there. We're like, salute to the state, baby. But it's been really good because those dudes have a great foundation of movement skills. I mean, that's more than anything what we look for with your young offensive linemen. What are your movement patterns like? They could literally, both of them can play all 5 positions if we needed them to. Literally, if we needed them to. Obviously, Dev's a little bit on a smaller spectrum as far as playing tackle, but his feet are really good to be able to do so. And Fox has that aggression that if he wanted to put him on the inside, he could do so. They got a ton to learn still. It's still early for them. They got here a little bit later, but you can tell the future's going to be bright for those guys as well, man. It's a really good young class that we got together.
What is Marcus being down to 305, and he really made a big point about changing his body comp in the offseason? What does that enable him to do now compared to what he was able to do?
Marcus is able to play nasty and finish way longer than he was prior. Like, he got into shape, like you said. He committed to a nutritionist, committed to changing his body, having the right meals and all that kind of stuff, even outside of here, outside of our own resources. So he was able to pay, like, you could see the dividends that paid for him because he changed his body. And to be able to lead, like Josh and Johnny are athletic as ever, and Marcus is running with those guys. So it's been good for him to actually change his body and go kick into that second gear to turn that A-hole up a little bit more.
And it's a position that you don't rotate a lot. How do you develop the younger guys? How have you been able to get these guys ready? Because you did mention later in the year, someone may have to start or play a bunch when earlier in the year they don't.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the beautiful infrastructure of what Coach Lannon has. The way we prep and the way we practice, our young guys are going to get a lot more reps than other people's young guys. And they actually get a chance to get in there, and maybe it's Devin next to Josh Connolly, or maybe it's whatever the case may be. Our young guys get an opportunity to learn from the coaching staff, but then also get to learn from the guys who played a ton of reps. So it helps those guys out when we do a variety of rotations, and they may go up against Big JC, Big Caldwell one time, or the next time they're going up against Terrence Green, who's a younger D tackle. You get to have those challenges going up against younger guys and older guys and start to build that cohesion and understanding what college football is like. We get to benefit from that because our younger guys get to potentially get ready way faster than most people's. Poncho's a perfect example of that. Last year spring, you probably had questions, and then you look up, he was having a dominant true freshman year.
Dan was talking about pre-snap operation a lot this past week, penalties, calls, all that kind of stuff. What do you want to see from your guys this Saturday, and not just in general, you want to see it all the time, but especially where in that opener, you might want to go and put in the second unit, the third unit, if possible. So what do you want to see from these guys to feel confident in doing so? Really just honing in on everything, no matter what it is. If it's pre-snap, we just got to make sure we're honed in on all the things. We want to communicate, we want to be fast, we want to be urgent, but we don't want to be in a rush. There's no need to be in a rush. Most pre-snap penalties happen because the guy's in a rush and he's worried about what's to come. Be confident, see exactly what you see, communicate it, and let's go execute. This opportunity, this next scrimmage is another opportunity to get better from week 1.